Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and today we're on day 157. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you're here today and I hope your day is going great. We're going to be reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 16, Isaiah chapter 42, 1Corinthians chapter 4, and then we're going to close out the day with Psalm chapter 91, but we're only reading verses 1 through 8 today. So let's get started with Deuteronomy chapter 16. Here we go. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover to Yahweh your God, for in the month of Abib Yahweh your God brought you out of Egypt by night. You shall sacrifice the Passover to Yahweh your God of the flock and the herd, in the place which Yahweh shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. You shall eat unleavened bread with it 7 days, even the bread of affliction, for you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that you may remember the day when you came out of the land of Egypt all the days of your life. No yeast shall be seen with you in all your borders 7 days. Neither shall any of the meat, which you sacrifice the first day at evening, remain all night until the morning. You may not sacrifice the Passover within any of your gates, which Yahweh your God gives you, but at the place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell in. There you shall sacrifice the Passover at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that you came out of Egypt. You shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahweh your God chooses. In the morning you shall return to your tents. 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh your God. You shall do no work. You shall count for yourselves 7 weeks. From the time you begin to put the sickle to the standing grain, you shall begin to count 7 weeks. You shall keep the feast of weeks to Yahweh your God with the tribute of a free will offering of your hand, which you shall give according to how Yahweh your God blesses you. You shall rejoice before Yahweh your God, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, the Levite who is within your gates, the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow who are among you, in the place which Yahweh your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. You shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and you shall observe and do these statutes. You shall keep the feast of booths 7 days, after you have gathered in from your threshing floor and from your winepress. You shall rejoice in your feast, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, the Levite, the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow who are within your gates. You shall keep a feast to Yahweh your God 7 days in the place which Yahweh chooses, because Yahweh your God will bless you in all your increase and in all the work of your hands, and you shall be altogether joyful. 3 times in a year all of your males shall appear before Yahweh your God in the place which he chooses, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of booths. They shall not appear before Yahweh empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to Yahweh your God's blessing, which he has given you. You shall make judges and officers in all your gates, which Yahweh your God gives you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. You shall not pervert justice. You shall not show partiality. You shall not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous. You shall follow that which is altogether just, that you may live and inherit the land which Yahweh your God gives you. You shall not plant for yourselves an Asherah pole of any kind of tree, beside Yahweh your God's altar, which you shall make for yourselves. Neither shall you set yourselves up a sacred stone, which Yahweh your God hates. All right, and moving into Isaiah chapter 42. All right. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit on him. He will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout, nor raise his voice, nor cause it to be heard in the street. He won't break a bruised reed. He won't quench a dimly burning wick. He will faithfully bring justice. He will not fail nor be discouraged until he has set justice in the earth, and the islands wait for his law. God Yahweh, he who created the heavens and stretched them out, he who spread out the earth and that which comes out of it, he who gives breath to its people and spirit to those who walk in it, says, I, Yahweh, have called you in righteousness. I will hold your hand. I will keep you and make you a covenant for the people, as a light for the nations, to open the blind eyes, to bring the prisoners out of the dungeon, and those who sit in darkness out of the prison. I am Yahweh. That is my name. I will not give my glory to another, nor my praise to engraved images. Behold, the former things have happened, and I declare new things. I tell you about them before they come up. Sing to Yahweh a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth, you who go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the islands and their inhabitants. Let the wilderness and its cities raise their voices with the villages that Kedar inhabits. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing, and let them shout from the top of the mountain. Let them give glory to Yahweh and declare his praise in the islands. Yahweh will go out like a mighty man. He will stir up zeal like a man of war. He will raise a war cry. Yes, he will shout aloud. He will triumph over his enemies. I have been silent a long time. I have been quiet and restrained myself. Now I will cry out like a traveling woman. Now I will cry out like a travailing woman. I will both gasp and pant. I will destroy mountains and hills and dry up all their herbs. I will make the rivers islands and will dry up the pools. I will bring the blind up by a way that they don't know, and I will lead them in paths that they don't know. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked places straight. I will do these things, and I will not forsake them. Those who trust in engraved images, who tell molten images, you are gods, will be turned back. They will be utterly disappointed. I'm going to read that again. This is verse 17. Those who trust in engraved images, who tell molten images, you are our gods, will be turned back, and they will be utterly disappointed. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant? Or who is as deaf as a messenger whom I send? Who is as blind as he who is at peace, and as blind as Yahweh's servants? You see many things, but don't observe. His ears are open, but he doesn't listen. It pleased Yahweh, for his righteousness' sake, to magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a robbed and plundered people, All of them are snared in holes, and they are hidden in prisons. They have become captives, and no one delivers, and a plunderer, and no one says, 'Restore them.' Who is there among you who will give ear to this? Who will listen and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob as plunder and Israel to the robbers? Didn't Yahweh, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, and they disobeyed his law. Therefore, he poured out the fierceness of his anger on him, and the strength of battle. It set him on fire all around, but he didn't know. It burned him, but he didn't take it to heart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Feels a little current. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. All right. You doing okay back there, Fred? See, now he's quiet. As soon as I give him attention, he's quiet. All right. So let a man think of us as Christ's servants and stewards of God's mysteries. Here, moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found faithful. But with me, it is a very small thing that I should be judged by you or by human court. Yes, I don't even judge my own self. For I know nothing against myself, yet I am not justified by this. But he who judges me is the Lord. Therefore, judge nothing before the time until the Lord comes, who will both bring to light the hidden things of darkness and reveal the counsels of the hearts. Then each man will get his praise from God. Now these things, brothers, I have in a figure... Now these things, brothers, I have in a figure transferred to myself and Apollos for your sakes, that in us you might learn not to think beyond the things which are written, that none of you be puffed up against one another. For who makes you different? And what do you have that you didn't receive? But if you did receive it, why do you boast as if you had not received it? You are already filled. You have already become rich. You have come to reign without us. Yes, and I wish that you did reign, that we also might reign with you. For I think that God has displayed us, the apostles, last of all, like men sentenced to death. For we are made a spectacle to the world, both to angels and men. We are fools for Christ's sake, but you are wise in Christ. We are weak, but you are strong. You have honor, but we have dishonor. Even to this present hour we hunger, we thirst, we're naked, we're beaten, and have no certain dwelling place. We toil, working with our own hands. When people curse us, we bless. Being persecuted, we endure. Being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world, the dirt wiped off by all, even until now. I don't write these things to shame you, but to admonish you as my beloved children. For though you have 10,000 tutors in Christ, you don't have many fathers. For in Christ Jesus I became your father through the good news. I beg you, therefore, be imitators of me. Because of this, I have sent Timothy to you, who is my beloved and faithful child in the Lord, who will remind you of my ways which are in Christ, even as I teach everywhere in every assembly. Now some are puffed up, as though I were not coming to you. But I will come to you shortly, if the Lord is willing. and I will know, not the word of those who are puffed up, but the power. For God's kingdom is not in word, but in power. What do you want? Shall I come to you with a rod, or in love and a spirit of gentleness? God, yes! That last line. Church, listen. What do you want? Church, listen. Shall I come with a rod, or in love and a spirit of gentleness? Because that's what Jesus would have. Okay, sorry about that. Psalm chapter 91, verses 1 through 8. All right, here we go. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers. Under His wings you will take refuge. His faithfulness is your shield and rampart. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. Oh, wow. What a day of God's power. Oh, and how much He loves us. You guys, He really, really loves us, and He really wants a relationship with us. He wants to hear from us. Please today, have a talk with Him. Have a quiet talk with Him. And if you feel so bold, tell Him that you love Him and that you're thankful. Oh, this was a fantastic day. And Freddie seems to have a lot to say. Freddie? Shall we see if he'll come over just to say hi? If you'd like to leave now, be sure to come back tomorrow, which will be day 157. And for those of you who love Fred, we'll see if he'll come by. I'll be right back. Hey, mister. You can come here. You can come here. Hi. Hi. Oh. You know what it is? I cleaned his cage today. Oh. I cleaned his cage today, and I did not set it up properly. And so this whole time he's been having a little tantrum. All right, so this was a wild day. I am so thankful that you joined me today. I hope you all had a great laugh. There are some days where my life can be a little confusing. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day and come on back tomorrow for day 158, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.